Good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you're at, wherever you're watching this podcast. How you doing, America? Welcome to another episode of Truth to Freedom podcast. Real talk for real people. My name is James Parker, one half of the team here at Truth to Freedom, and the other half is my dear friend and co-founder of this podcast, Mr. Quentin Williams. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How you doing?
Man, it was a beautiful day yesterday, Sunday. We took advantage of it as much as we could. But it's all good, man. Everything's hanging, just doing what we can, taking it day by day. How about you and your family? How that little baby of yours doing?
Doing good. So we did, because it was such a nice day yesterday, we went to the park.
Oh, that's right. This where you went to Top Golf.
No, we went to Top Golf Saturday, me and my friends, but we took the baby to the park yesterday.
Oh, okay. I know she had a great time. It was a beautiful day. I know she.
Yep.
And that's what you need to do, America. You need to make time for your family. You can work all you want, but when it's said and done, the memories that you make with your families, that's what's going to be important down the line. Make sure you're doing that with your family. Spend time, do things with your family, make your family a priority. The rest of that stuff, it'll take. Anyway, it's a light discussion today. We really ain't really chiming in on it. Now, after the end of this podcast, most people are going to be like, man, they really don't care for the Democratic Party or Kamala or nowhere from the truth. I can care less. What we are going to point out today is just some things that you may want to take point on. You need to pay attention to when these people start talking, because again, they throw a lot of promises out there and, they don't deliver. They make you think you're going to get it. You go to do something and find out they don't qualify. So just want to point out one of the things we want to talk about is, so apparently Democratic Party is not happy with the numbers from the black community, I guess, and especially from black men. So they sent Barack Obama out to go talk to a group at one of these headquarters, whatever, black men in there, whatever. And I guess it was all prearranged. I don't know. But anyway, he was sent out to have a talk. And it's a very interesting talk. You should have seen it by now. It isn't gone viral. But if not, we're going to show it here, at least bits of it. And then we're going to come back and talk about it. So let me share my screen and we're going to take a look foolish because I don't get it. First of all, well, you know what? Okay, because I want Quinn. So the problem I got with this is when you hear the video, he's kind of like scolding or like, making it seem like we're wrong for not supporting. Like he's going to talk about where the choice was obvious on what you need to do. How is it obvious? Why am I? This is what I don't get. I want people to realize. Don't tell me I got a choice between this person, that person. That's it. No, I don't have a choice. I got a choice where my choice makes sense. I'm not just going to make a choice because that's what I was doing in the past. And that's what I come to the conclusion. This doesn't make any sense because after all these years, they haven't changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing has come around. Every time we do make traction, somebody comes along and knocks it off. It's like doing Jenga. You just got at the top. You only got that one little piece to slide out. And guess what? Somebody does something, the whole thing comes tumbling down. Now we got to start all over. So I don't know. Quentin, you watched the video. What's your assessment?
Well, I'm like you, they tell us, vote for who we want. But didn't tell us we only got two choices, and there's an obvious choice out of these two choices when they don't look too much different to me. I mean, the obvious, like if we're talking about this election, then the obvious choice for me would be Cornel West. He's talking a lot of sense. He comes from a very compassionate place. So he seems to live his values.
I hear you. And I mean, that's what it boils down to. I mean, again, the time for politicians is over. I mean, we need real people in office, people that really know the situation and are not afraid to do the things that need to be done in order to fix all this mess that has been going on for years and years. Anyway, all right, now we're going to play that video. Y'all, if you haven't seen it, now you're going to get a chance to see it. We'll come back and have indeed, yes, indeed. So just stand by just a second.
Go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Yes. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities, as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs, and when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
Come visit the Ford store that gives you more. Take up to $15,000 off XLT F-150, STXs, $549 per month, $8,000 off Broncos, Bronco Sport, pay $389 per month, all edges in stock, pick up to $8,000 off. Only at Crossroads Ford in Wake Forest.
That was it. First of all, you know what? You go ahead, Quinn, because I give you. You go ahead, sir.
I don't like how a lot of these issues always come back to black men being a problem. You know, it's got to be misogyny, and it can't be that we don't agree with the Democratic Party or we don't really trust her stance because she hadn't really stood in a solid position. And at the same time, you know, Obama made the comparison to where he said there was more support of him than of her right now. But I would like to see the ratings on that, because there were a lot of people that weren't happy with him when he left office. A lot of people that were happy with him in the beginning. So we can't automatically say that it's because she's a woman. I feel like they're just using that. They're weaponizing that against black men in particular. I mean, I mean, for me, it's the Democrats as a whole. And the stat, that doing the same thing and the status quo, it doesn't benefit us. I mean, it doesn't benefit working people. So he can't even say that. I mean, his job was to unite the country, and he tried to, but there's just a group of subset of people that don't want to be united. So I don't know. I mean,
What you saying, brother? Yeah. That was a point brought up on another thing I was watching. That yeah, when he first ran, yeah, the numbers was high because what he was preaching, people was feeding into it. Sounded good and change and all that stuff he was talking about. But like you said, by the time he got out of office, though, a lot of stuff that he had stood on, he didn't follow through on. He didn't. Disillusioned by the time he done with office because a lot of stuff that he said he would or would not do, he ended up flip flopping or he ended up doing whatever. So yeah, the numbers, and then also trying to throw it in that if you're thinking about not voting because she's a woman and you might not want a woman as president, ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't know.
no.
Since you want to talk to the brother, that ain't got nothing to do with it. Okay, how about she just ain't qualified? How about that? I mean, as you said, keep it real. How about keeping it real? How about she make not just be qualified? I don't know. You tell me. Because you're in this campaign office talking to this small crowd of people. How about going on that video that where they raised all that money for Kamala? Because obviously, that's who you need to be talking to. Because they raised all that money for Kamala, so obviously they're for Kamala. So you should be talking to them about all this mess, and maybe they could go out and convince other people or whatever the case might. But he talking to the brothers. But the first part where he was talking about how she's just like you, grew up like you, went to school like you, and you are full of it, dude. First of all, her background, she's Indian. Let me tell you something. And this is not I'm not being stereotyped. I'm not. I'm really because Indians are a proud people and they believe in education and they believe in all that. And so they live a certain way and they conduct themselves a certain way. That's just their culture. That's just them. Nothing bad against them. That's good. But if you go to the ghetto or low income area, you ain't gonna find no Indians there. I'm sorry. You're not going to. They ain't going there. They have a certain standard they stay, and a certain standard how they live, and that's just how they are. But that's their culture. So don't tell me that she grew up suffering like poor black folks did because she didn't. She didn't have none of the struggle. I guarantee you she probably had none of the struggles that a lot of black folks have had growing up. But you can preach that to people, and she can talk that crap too. But nah, buddy, there's no way. Um,
I want to say too, since and this is also true for Obama because his father is African. He wasn't born here in America. Now her father is Jamaican. And I mean there were slave colonies in Jamaica, but her mother's side, she doesn't have people who have experienced, like you said, they didn't experience these things. She doesn't have family or relatives or ancestors that were slaves. So that whole experience, like all of that is different. And it's the same for Obama. They don't, there is no, we're not the same. Like they didn't get a lot of that stuff and that trauma passed down to them to where they had to heal from it.
That's a great point. That's an excellent. I mean, they keep trying to preach that narrative about how she's equal. She's not. I mean, let's just be real. She's not. And I'm pretty sure she was able and had access and afford a whole lot more opportunity than her counterparts that grew up in low income, the ghetto, whatever, during that time. But she always wanted to throw out there that she worked at, was it McDonald's somewhere?
Yeah.
Big deal. You probably worked there for community credits. I don't know. Anyway, so again, here we are. Former president of the United States, considered one of the best we've had, and now he's here at this campaign off, wanting to talk directly to the black men, all this other stuff. And the other thing, he was trying to say about how, without actually saying it, Trump or the Republican Party and Trump are out to demean you and care less about you and all this other stuff. All that I got against Trump, they shut his mouth. He don't know when to shut his mouth. and he reacts. He talks and reacts. If you say something, he has to say something to react to what you said. And half the time, it shouldn't have been something he shouldn't have said in the first place. He just needed to keep his mouth shut. But that's Trump. But somebody brought up a good point a while back. I was watching something. They said that back in the day, before all this election stuff, you had a whole lot of black folks that hung out with Trump, took pictures with Trump, and thought Trump was the next best thing in sliced bread. So I don't know how in the world we went from Trump was the man to now Trump is the enemy in that short amount of time. You do a Google search on pictures, black folks taking pictures with Trump, see how many, and you'll see who took pictures and all this other stuff. Anyway, you got anything else to add to that, sir?
I don't.
So, but if you hadn't seen it, that was it. That was, and I think there's actually a longer clip out there of that boy. That's just,
I do have some. Sorry.
Uh,
I said I do have one more thing to say. Speaking of the video, I wrote something else down.
yeah, what's up?
I heard like Kamala's policies, they're a band-aid. They're not long term. And like you said, we built like your reference to Jenga. We built this stuff and then somebody comes and knocks it over. And it'll be the same with her because her stuff they won't put it into the law. And it's a band-aid. That's all it is.
And I mean, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say, now talking about policy, but she already had 4 years. She was in office with Biden. Biden was the president. He was the vice president. He gave her assignments on whatever but I'm saying they had 4 years. All the stuff that she's now saying that she's going to fix, they already had 4 years to fix it. These was issues when they started running last election. These aren't issues that just came up. These are issues from the last election that we are now dealing with now that you now say you're going to fix. Well, if y'all couldn't fix it in these 4 years, what makes you think you're going to fix it in the next 4 years? Really? I mean, come on, people. Wake up. We need an enema. We need an enema of the government, and we need a flush, a clear flush. For those that have done colonoscopies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that big jug of stuff they give you, that clear liquid that you have to drink prior to, it flushes you out. It cleans you out. Got your stuff looking all kind of crazy. Get all that. That's what we need up there at Washington, D.C. We need a big dose of that stuff and just clean out the government and start fresh. Do an examination and start fresh. But anyway, let's move on to Kamala Harris. She recently had an interview 60 Minutes, and that was a to-do because her and Trump was supposed to do an interview. Trump ended up backing out, didn't he? Had some stuff to say about people said, "No, it's just all humbug." But Kamala, she went on and did it. And I give kudos to 60 Minutes interview. He asked some questions. He was trying to get some answers. He just didn't take whatever he was trying to get some clear, precise answers. Let's take a look at some of that, and we'll talk about that. Well, the 60-minute interview or pieces.
And here are some of the exchanges with interviewer Bill Whitaker.
You want to expand the child tax credit.
Yes, I do.
You want to give tax breaks to first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And people starting small businesses.
Correct.
But it is estimated by the Nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget that your economic plan would add $3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. How are you going to pay for that?
Okay, so the other economists that have reviewed my plan versus my opponent and determined that my economic plan would strengthen America's economy, his would weaken it.
But
my plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class and you strengthen America's economy.
All right, so I wasn't gonna stop this video, but I was gonna stop it. I really was. But he asked her a really just a yes or no question. Basically, how are you going to pay for this? The people that studied this plan says it's gonna put us into the deficit. How are you gonna pay for this plan? And then she want to cut him off and then go into this. What I'm going to do is going to strengthen small business. Help me, Quentin. I don't understand this woman.
I think what happened was because he did ask her politely and she gave him another answer. But I think she felt like she was attacked instead of just answering the question to begin with. Like, we don't need a comparison of you and Trump, man. You know, the last show we did, and you showed that clip of Bernie Sanders and Hillary on stage.
Yeah.
And he did that interview. And after they played that clip, he told the interviewer, he said, "I'm not gonna let the media manipulate me into personal attacks. I'm gonna keep it politics." And that's exactly what she's doing. She's letting them. She's feeding into the hype instead of answering the question. She's making it personal and not about politics.
Great point. Let's continue.
Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
Okay, I am so sick. I am so sick of this fair share. You need to come up with something where everybody contribute. Why do you keep segregating? And again, here we go, divide and conquer. All you doing is segregating the top 1% and making them feel like they're going to split the bill on this and fund most of this stuff because you're going to go after them to make them so-called pay their fair share. I'm pretty sure they're paying their fair share. But the whole bottom line is when you look at the taxes and how the tax policy is written, it's written so that you can write off this and write off that. So most people that's in the top 1% got businesses and things that so they can write off a lot of stuff so they can keep their money. Middle class people, even if they got a business, it's hard for them to write stuff off. But the stuff that they can write off at 1% is a whole lot more than what the average business owner can write off, especially since they done changed everything. A lot of stuff that they can write off, they can't write off no more, or it has to reach a certain threshold before they can even write it off. And for the independent sole proprietor, he only going to make so much. So he doesn't even meet the thresholds of some of the stuff to qualify for a write-off.
Yeah.
So I really hate when they do that, oh, we're going to get the, why you want to make them, what do you mean you want to get them to do what? How about just making it across the board where everybody's contributing? Whether you make 20,000.
What? But what's their fair share? She's just throwing something out there that she thinks certain groups of people want to hear. She hasn't given a number.
No, she hasn't.
She could easily say, we're gonna raise the corporate tax rate to whatever percent, or we're gonna raise the tax rate of people who make over this amount of money to a certain percent. She doesn't say any of that. She just says we're gonna make them pay a fair share. What does that mean? It's just saying it, and then so she can get elected and not do it anyway.
And not do it. Yep, you are correct.
It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
Let me tell you what your critics and the columnists say.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for. And I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build.
Get her, Quentin. Get her.
I mean, she keeps saying this and I hear it, but like Trump wouldn't be popular if they didn't keep pushing candidates like her. Like, honestly, the only reason he is as popular as he is because it was either him or Hillary Clinton, which would have been a lot of the same. And she already had a bad name for herself and her husbands and everything. So if we would get somebody different, not the same status quo, we're gonna continue doing the same thing that doesn't work. Trump would he would have never made it off the campaign trail. They would have laughed him off of it. Yeah. So it's them, they're the reason why. And like I said, and this is what I believe. If Bernie was actually picked to be the nominee, we would have never got Trump.
I agree with you. I mean, if you really take a hard look at it, peel that onion back, you're right. You're exactly right.
Because in the beginning, and I mean, it's been what, 8 years? So we got Joe Biden and we had Trump for one. So it's been 8 years.
Yep.
People still have the same grievances. They were talking about the price of stuff back then. They were talking about the way that the direction the country was going. Things were getting too high. That's why Trump was popular. I digress.
Let us
Build consensus where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing as long as you don't compromise your values to find common sense solutions. And that has been my approach.
You are sitting here with us. The Trump campaign canceled an interview that they had agreed to participate in this broadcast. What do you make of that?
If he is not going to give your viewers the ability to have a meaningful, thoughtful conversation, question and answer with you, then watch his rallies. You're going to hear conversations that are about himself and all of his personal grievances. And what you will not hear is anything about you, the listener. You will not hear about how he's going to try to bring the country together, find common ground. And Bill, that is why I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page.
Listen, your shirt sucked. I know because I tried all these online shirt brands. Let me save you some time and money.
Vice President Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes last night. So, Joe, barring the fact that the other choice from president believes in nothing except for his own self-interest and was a Democrat and donated to Kamala Harris's campaigns at one point. Putting all of that aside, how do you think she handled that question?
You know, I thought it was great. I mean, I'm a conservative. I've always said Donald Trump's not a conservative, and he's not. And the news outlets that are always running interference for him are not conservatives. Yesterday, I quoted Edmund Burke. I quoted Russell Kirk. I quoted Ronald Reagan. And I go back to, in this answer, Gene Robinson, where she's talking about seeking consensus. She said, she talked about seeking common ground. And Americans want leaders who build consensus and compromise. And of course, that requires that, as Keynes said, I think it was, when the facts change, I change my mind. What do you do, sir, is the question. But you were so lucky, Gene, you missed my history of conservatism 101 class yesterday.
I heard it, Joe. I did hear it. I did hear it.
Well,
you also quoted my friend Charles Krauthammer at length, and yes, I heard it.
The best.
I love Charles. A real conservative hero, and Charles, by the way. As I was reading through Charles again through the weekend, a man whose writing I so deeply loved, we discount the written word too much these days and think, oh, gee, when we write, it doesn't matter so much. Charles is speaking to us and speaking to conservatives and speaking to Trump voters, and speaking to those who claim to be conservative. Charles is speaking from beyond to them in his words even today. If they just want to read what Charles Krauthammer said, I think the great conservative mind of our time has said about Donald Trump, but more importantly, what he said about government. But one of the things that the vice president just said, that it's almost lifted directly from the conservative mind. Russell Kirk, the introduction to his 7th edition, his final edition of the conservative mind, Russell Kirk talked about what conservatism was. And he said, it's conservatives look at custom and conventions forged by compromise and consensus over time and applied prudently. And then at the end, he said, whether we attach ourselves to the party of progress or the party of permanence depends upon the circumstances of the time. And that's what Kamala Harris just said there. She's basically saying, yes, I said what I said in 2019, 2020. A lot of things happened. A lot of things changed. I've traveled the country. I'm going to do what Russell Kirk said in the conservative mind. Seek consensus. Seek compromise. Be prudent over time. This is something that real conservatives would applaud.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think that would be a better answer if she actually said that. Well, you know, my mind has changed. I know I did, but now I do. But I mean, she hasn't been saying that. But I mean, at the same time, she's considered a centrist, or a moderate. Centrist now is the more modern term for what moderate we used to call moderates. Obama was a centrist. And I don't know, they kind of flip flop positions. I mean, Obama did the same thing. There's you go look at some of his interviews, he won't come out and say a lot of stuff. He'll like dance around it. And I mean, to me, like you say, it's just politicians. It's just to get votes. They want to do or say what appeases the majority.
Yeah. And that's what we got to get away from. Stop trying to. First of all, you're not going to please everybody. There's no way on earth that you're going to be able to please the NRA, AARP,
No.
the LPGQ, any other group that's back. There's no way. There's nothing you can do to where every organization, every group, every anything from the Rainbow Coalition to doggone, I can't, Al Sharpton's organization, all of them.
Yeah.
You can't please them. You'll never come up because somebody's going to want something that the other group doesn't want, and so it's just impossible. So why even try? How about just trying to make it fair for all Americans and leave it at that? And if the people that don't think it's fair, they'll be all right because you know what? The majority will be taken care of. That little 1%, 2% of people that just want it their way, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Yep.
They'll be just okay. So Miss Kamala is back in North Carolina. She just had a rally the other day, I think, or day before, in Greenville, North Carolina, I believe it is. Anyway, we want to play a little bit of that, hear what she's got to say, and actually it'll just be a repeat of whatever else she said before. But hey, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. We're gonna play a little bit of it, and then we're gonna. Oh, here we go.
We have 23 days until Election Day. And we are nearing the home stretch. We are nearing the home stretch. Now listen, let me just say, I know we are really excited to see each other. I couldn't be more excited to see everybody here, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a tight race until the very end. And we are running as the underdog. So we have some hard work ahead of us, but we like hard work. Hard work is good work. And with your help in 23 days, we will win. We will win. We will win. Yes, we will. We will win. So what we know. One of the reasons is that we all know, and we are gathered here together, because we know this election really is about two very different visions for our nation. One, his focused on the past, the other ours focused on the future.
Now let me point out, she said we did a show, a couple of shows back, I guess. Anyway, when she was saying how what was you saying about stopping the rhetoric and the name calling and something.
Yeah.
So why do we keep? This is what I understand. So you say you don't want to engage in this kind of conversation. You want to. So why don't you just stick with the subject? Stop bringing somebody else into the conversation. You got one party. They're trying to stay in the past. We're trying to go in the future. I don't care. I want to know what your future look like. Talk about what you're going to do.
Yep. It looks like theater, like theatrics, don't, like you said, or the video we watched also, don't go into personal attacks. Keep it about policy and politics.
Exactly. Because she just said before all this, we got 30-something days. So I ain't got time to talk about nobody else. I need to let you know what the heck I'm getting ready to do. I ain't got time. I don't really care. This is what I got to do. This is what I got planned over the first 30 days, we're looking to do this. The first 60 days, we're looking to do this. The first 90 days, we're looking to do this. And then move on from there. Tell me what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what's going to take place. I don't want to hear about the other party. Neither one of y'all. I really would hope. I hope we wake up on November 6th and the Cornell or the other lady win.
Which one? Jill
Stein.
From the Green Party, Jill.
Yeah, Jill Stein.
Jill
Stein. Yeah, one of them. we'll wake up and one of them will. Because I think people are just fed up. I mean, they got to be by now. They got to be. I hope they are. I hope America that y'all. It's just politics is just old. It's gotten old, and it's not helping nothing. Anyway.
Ours is a campaign focused on issues that matter, for example, to working families across America, like bringing down the cost of living, investing in small businesses and entrepreneurs. How many small business owners do we have here? Thank you. We are focused on protecting reproductive freedom. We are focused on keeping our nation secure.
Costco shoppers say this military hiking stick is actually worth it.
But none of that is what we hear from Donald Trump. Instead, from him, we are just hearing from that same old tired playbook. He has no plan for how he would address the needs of the American people. He is only focused on himself. And he's not, but here's the thing, North Carolina, and he's not being transparent with the voters. He's not being transparent. So check this out. He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it. He is unwilling to do a 60 Minutes interview.
Hey, answer me this, Quentin. What is the purpose of that? Why would they record? Why got, they might have something going on they don't want us to know. So
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it's just being transparent and trying to show that, they can trust you. It's just transparency because it's not required for them to do that. They just do it. And I want to say it was Jimmy Carter or JFK one of them started it. One of the, so I wouldn't want people in my medical business either, though.
I mean, that's why we got HIPAA laws.
Yeah.
You can't disclose people medical information without their consent. I don't get it. I don't get it why,
But what difference does it, why do you judge a person who may, I don't know, maybe they have some kind of disease or illness? That's not a reflection of their character anyway.
No, it just means they sick. That's all it means. They got
unless they're, deliberately trying to prove that Trump's got dementia or something like that. But I mean, other than that, you get on to say, look, I'm healthy. What does that mean?
I don't know. Let's continue. We're going to play a little bit more than one.
Like every other major party candidate has done for more than half a century, he is unwilling to meet for a second debate. And here's the thing. It makes you wonder. Why does his staff want him to hide away? One must question, are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable to lead America? Is that what's going on? So folks, for these reasons and so many more, it is time to turn the page. It is time to turn the page because America is ready to chart a new way forward, ready for a new and optimistic generation of leadership.
What's that word again?
Which is why Democrats, Independents, and Republicans are supporting our campaign. Because they and we know we need a president who works for all the American people. And that has been the story of my entire career. I have only ever had one client, the people. As a young courtroom prosecutor, I stood up for women and children against predators. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big banks and delivered $20 billion from middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by the big for-profit colleges. I've stood up for workers being cheated out of the wages they were due. Stood up for seniors facing elder abuse. And as president, it is my pledge to you that I will always fight for all the American people.
She just made a promise she can't keep.
Yeah.
She made a promise that she can't keep. She said she's going to fight for all Americans. So that means the Ku Klux Klan and all of them. She said she's going to fight for all. We're all of us is in the same umbrella.
Yep, she did.
Just told a straight up lie. I don't know, brother. It's like I said, she got 30 days. Here in North Carolina, well, Wake County anyway, our early voting starts Thursday. But that's Thursday. Thursday is 7th. Yeah, early voting starts at 6. So if you're talking about voting, do it early. Don't wait till November. Vote early. That's probably one of the best things they ever can. Early vote. You can go down your library or wherever your early voting site is and get it done and over with. Won't have to wait in line half the time. I got another video I want to show you. Oh, so I came across this other video, Quentin. So apparently this guy, he's obviously a supporter of the Democratic Party and all this other stuff. But he goes into this thing. So he wants to hail Biden as the greatest president ever because he made the choice to step down and let Kamala be president, yada, yada. First of all, he didn't make the choice. The Democratic Party made it.
They forced him. He didn't want to step down.
Exactly. Thank you. But he made it seem like he made this decision. He hailed king of the mountain and all this other stuff. And I was like, really? And so, but this was at a Latino event. She was talking to Latino voters. And I had enough. And so they was talking to having a Latino town hall, and so they caught her in some kind of thing that before they went viral. So I figured but listen to my
Biden will be remembered for this moment, stepping down from the height of power. You just don't see that nowadays, especially when people are cheating and coming up with all sorts of excuses to stay in power, whether it's Maduro in Venezuela or Donald Trump with the 2020 election. People just do not give up power nowadays. And so for Joe Biden to do that as president of the...
What'd you say?
I just expressed annoyance with his comment about the Venezuelans.
Oh.
I'm tired of people bringing up the Venezuelans and China and Russia.
But they ain't got nothing else to do. And I don't know if you noticed in his background, he's got a Bernie campaign program.
I see that, which is completely unrelated to Biden and Harris.
Anyway.
The United States of America, the most powerful office in the world. It sets a great example, and I think he'll be remembered for that selfless act for many, many years because he put his country over his own personal ambition. And it's the best gift that he could give us Americans in his final act as president, to set the example for future leaders. But the biggest moment to come out of this town hall was a woman who was clearly upset by the recent passing of her mother, who was an undocumented immigrant and unable to get access to the health care that she needed here in America.
You and I have something in common. We both lost our mother. Oh. And I'm an American citizen, born to two Mexican parents. They were here before I was even born. They've worked their whole lives. But with the way immigration laws change over time, I was only able to help my dad get his legal status squared away, but not my mom's. My mom passed away just 6 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And she was never, ever able to get the type of care and service that she needed or deserved. Sorry.
Take your time.
So my question for you is, What are your plans, or do you have plans to support that subgroup of immigrants who have been here their whole lives, or most of them, and have to live and die in the shadows?
What an amazing moment. This woman is so courageous for coming up there and telling her story, because the way Republicans talk about these immigrants is that they are murderers and they're gangsters and they're ruining America. But they're just normal people like you and I who are looking to work hard and be part of a community. And they are so happy to be here in America. So I love that this woman went up there and asked her question and put a face on who these immigrants are.
Part of the problem is that we do have a broken immigration system, including it being the case that even though when we were elected in 2020, and the first bill we offered Congress, before we did the bipartisan infrastructure bill, before we did the work on gun safety, before we did the work on investing in chips and science, the first bill we offered within hours of taking the oath was a bill to fix the immigration system, including creating a comprehensive, earned pathway to citizenship for hardworking people. And it was not taken up.
Biden released a comprehensive plan to fix all of our problems with immigration. And he did this on day one. And I am not kidding when I say it was comprehensive. I mean, it covered everything that has been plaguing our country with immigration for decades. And no action has been taken on this. And the Republicans have proven to be unserious actors because they do not want to solve this problem. Now, Kamala went on to take more tough questions from the audience and provided great answers. But when the town hall was finished, it was a moment caught by the cameras that has a lot of people talking. Just watch what Kamala Harris does as soon as the town hall ends.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you again.
That is just pure class from Kamala Harris to go right over to that woman from the beginning of the town hall who shared her emotional story about losing her mom, who was unable to get the medical care that she.
Be quiet. Your thoughts, Quinn?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of hearsay. I've never heard about Biden drafting a border bill. I don't know. That guy. I saw that Occupy Democrats sticker and then the logo in the bottom right hand screen. They were big around, I want to say, Obama's term. You saw them at a lot of places, but I don't know. I'm not gonna champion the Democrats. I feel bad for the girl, her family, and that people have to live like that. But
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to turn it into hate on whatever.
yeah,
Because there's really more to, and there's really more to the story, because she said that they've been here, they got here legally, she said, and have been able to secure work and live here among us all these years. If becoming an American citizen is that important, I honestly, again, I don't know the whole story, but I honestly believe it was that important that they would have done the legwork to already have done it prior to her even being born.
yeah,
And her being born and becoming an adult, and now as your child's an adult, is trying to help you get your citizenship. And that's a big time in passing. That if it was important to you to do it, you would have. Because by
I'm agreeing with you. I know that in a lot of cases, they feel like there's a lot of people that they don't trust, but just like there are people who they pay to get them over the border, there's got to be people out there that can help them apply for legal status. There's got to be.
Well, I mean, couldn't you even go down to the we have what they call Mexican councils here?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it seemed like they would be able to go there, facilitate their citizens. I'm like you, it's got to be some organization, somebody out there that they can go to that can cut through the red tape and the rhetoric to put them on the path of citizenship and make them legal.
Yeah.
But my heart goes out to her. I mean, yeah. I mean, her mother was sick. Who knows what she had to not be able to get the care that she needs. It's just sad in itself. But I mean, again, coming through, you're bringing up a subject that divides everybody because you're trying to make it to where people that have come over here legally and went through this and went through all the trials and tribulations on trying to get this, you now going to make it where these people don't have to. And somebody even brought it up. You basically are rewarding them for being here legally, and you're going to allow them to become a citizen without even going through the process. I mean, so you just create division. That's all you do. Keep it. If you want to, again, you want to be like she just said. She's represent every American. Okay, well, fine. Fair way to do it is that they got to do it the way everybody else did. Don't change it in midstream. However you need to do it. If you got to go back over to Mexico and try to apply the right way, then but again, like I said, if they want to solve the immigration problem, we could have solved it years and years ago. Because like I said, all the money done spent down there, you could have built and excuse me, you could have built right there on the border immigration processing that they can come right through there. You can process them, document. You could have did everything and would have led them to the path of citizenship right there from the border and moved on with life. Now you got documentation of everybody coming across the border. They're legal. They're on the path of citizenship. They're paying taxes. They're doing all the things they're supposed to be. And it would have been a done deal. Now, bam, immigration issue solved. The border situation solved. That's all you had to do. All the billions of dollars we done spent, all you could have just built this immigration processing. You'd have solved the problem. That's just me. I'm sorry.
So, like you're saying, and instead of building a wall, and if they really wanted to be serious about it, they could build a few of them, a few 100 miles apart.
Yeah.
So they put them in. So, because I know in like California, people cross that line all the time just to go down to Mexico and get certain things that they can't get here.
And come back. Yep.
So you put one in that area. So I just looked up how long the border is. It's 1,954 miles. I mean, I know this will be expensive, but so was trying to build a wall. That's also expensive. They could just build these buildings every so 100 miles or whatever apart.
Yeah. I mean, you create jobs. Heck, you can even be an innovator with this. You can actually turn a lot of them people that's coming across and turn around and train them to be employees in that same building to talk because the people that's coming through, they speak Spanish. Very few probably, are bilingual. So you need somebody. So you could have took a group of that came through that was bilingual, trained them, and then employed them to help process the people through. You could have created little border towns. People could live and thrive and work at the indoctrination center.
Yep.
And like you said, you could put one at the main one, and you probably have another one about midway, and then one all the way over there at the West Coast. Now all you got to do, you can patrol. But I think if you got a place where they can come and be treated with dignity and respect, and they're going to be legal, that's where they'll come to. So you just patrol back, try to catch the little vagrant ones that come through, and even the ones that do get through and they get arrested or they get caught or whatever the case might be, you bring them back to the doctor process. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times you look through the outside looking in, and it means it might sound good, but if I'm looking at all the money that they done spent on this situation, the border situation, illegal immigrants, as much as they done spent on this, and that's not the only way they're getting in here. There's other ways as well, but we just use the Mexican border because that's what they focus on. It could have been fixed. And and if he presented a bill from at day one and it didn't go nowhere, why he didn't keep presenting it?
Mm-hmm.
And why didn't he make it known that, look, I'm putting this bill through and your Congress people ain't acting on it? Because that's the first time I heard it to myself.
It was probably hidden in some other bill they had, and they led with whatever else they had going on, and not this immigration bill.
Well, that's nothing they need. That's another thing need to be changed. When they start dealing with these particular bills that have like a main issue, that's all that bill should have. They should stop cramming other things in these bills, trying to get other stuff passed under the pretense of getting this one bill passed. What they call it, filling it with pork or whatever.
Yeah.
That bill should have stood alone. If it was an immigration bill, it should have just stood as an immigration bill policy, and that's it, with nothing else added to it. All these other little bills y'all be trying to y'all do that on something else. But these bills that are important to America that can change lives and help lives need to come through, because there's been a lot of bills killed because the bill itself and what it was going to do Yeah, they was for, but then when they read that these people was trying to cram all this other stuff in it, they shot it down because they weren't for all that. And then they make it look like the bill got shot down, and then it just kind of gets lost in the abyss.
Finger pointing.
Yeah, it's like no, y'all killed it when y'all added all that stuff. Whoever the bill came out with should have told them no, y'all can't add nothing to this bill. Nope, you can't add nothing. Make up your own bill. Because if you're doing that, that means whatever you're trying to push through ain't really benefiting nobody. To be honest, because if that's the case, I would present it as a bill itself and send it up and let them vote on it. If it's something that's going to help the American public and you think it's a good bill, but if you got to hide it under this bill in order to get it passed, then evidently it's not something. That's just my opinion, which means absolutely positive. But yeah, so America, that's it. We just wanted to weed out the mess and accept the best. Again, I just don't believe that out of the millions of Americans that we have here, and we're talking about the highest office in the land. This is sad. This is sad that we have all these young, vibrant people that's out there with new ideas, stuff that would probably help America. Where are they at? I mean, what says that American president got to be 70? I mean, I just don't get it. And it's like all these senators and congressmen that's been in office, y'all keep voting them back in. It's been in for years. I mean, years to where they're now being pushed around in wheelchairs. You just won't get rid of them. It's like, why? We got all these young, vibrant people out here people that's poking to bring their ideas to the table, go in a, like she said, in a new direction. We're not going in a new direction because it's still the same old people doing the same old thing. So we're not going in a new direction. We want to go in a new direction. Y'all got to put new people up there. That's just how it's going to have to work. You got to put new people, new faces, new ideas, new thought patterns, and not the same old mess that. I vote for you, Quentin. We're gonna put you.
I don't know if I would want to do it.
I mean, that's the other problem. When you do get somebody up there that's new with new ideas, they're smothered because you got too much of the old regime up there, and they don't allow those people to breathe. And then a lot of them just kind of they just fall back into the abyss, and they're just I guess going along to get along because anything they put forward, it gets shut down.
Yeah, we also got quite a bit of American people who are indoctrinated themselves, who won't, can't, and refuse to think different. Like we don't have to do it this way. Who says this is the right way to do it if it's not working?
Yeah, yeah, and that's man. You bring up a great point. Yeah, our criminal system, prison, and rehabilitation process obviously is not working. Prisons are overrun, over capacity. Now they done made prisons are a business. You got private industry running prisons now and charging all kinds of money to house these prisoners. So the more prisoners you house, the more money you make. So we should be looking at a better way to do it. Better yet, we need to be looking at the European. We've already shown some of the stuff on our podcast where they're doing stuff that works. They're doing things that are working, just like the co-op and such stuff. You got over there where they're doing the 4-day work week. One country over there I can't has a mandatory. They all take off for summer, like they all shut down. It's a summer break, vacation, whatever. They all take it. Everything stops to where everybody can go and have fun and do a vacation. Don't have to be worrying about working or don't have enough. They hold everybody shut. And it works. Companies aren't losing money. They're just as thriving as they were before. They're not losing money. Just like now, there used to be a time nobody worked on something. Nobody worked on nothing was open. And just slowly as time went on, people got greedy. Stuff started opening up. Now Sunday is like a normal work day. And it shouldn't be. Work 6 days a week. I mean, you should have at least one day.
One dedicated that you know.
That you not got to work. You can spend time with your family. You can do something. But this happened to work 7 days a week in some cases. It doesn't solve anything. Just like with Thanksgiving. This is how greedy we are, America. This is how greedy we are. So everybody knows Thanksgiving was nothing open, but maybe a 7-Eleven. Probably don't. But Thanksgiving was never open. It never was nothing open the day after. And then they introduced this Black Friday crap. Now they're bled over into Thanksgiving. So now people think that it's more important to go pop a tin up, sit out all night at the store on Thanksgiving Day instead of spending time with their family. They think it's more important to be sitting in the store to get something they don't even need just because it's supposedly on some kind of discount, which is all a bunch of in the first place. But that same TV that you trying to stand in line for to get is going to sell at the end of the year. It's going to be on sale when they come out with the new models. It's going to be discounted at some point. It's just not going to be at Thanksgiving. But you're willing to follow corporate greed to sacrifice your time with your family to go stand in line to go shop at some store for something you probably don't even. I mean, you've seen the videos. People busting through the door. People being trampled on. People breaking out into just downright brawls. Right there in the middle of the store floor, over a TV or some kind of item, electronic item that they only had that one pallet. Once that pallet was gone, there ain't no more. But these people are willing to risk their lives for stuff. And why? I don't get it. But I don't know, Quentin. I think we just talking to the choir because it's different.
Yeah, we'll see what happens though. I mean, I don't know. I feel like people are already disillusioned. How do you get even more disillusioned than this?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out in less than 30 days.
Yeah.
We'll find out in 30 days exactly where it's going to go to. Because I mean, like I said, I look to wake up and somebody else is in charge instead of one.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see what happens.
And Jill was pretty popular. She's ran a few times.
Should get enough. Maybe enough people just won't vote to give her enough votes for her to get.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you got enough people that say, well, I don't want to vote for neither one of them, don't vote then. Don't vote. And that'll give her the votes. And then that'll get her. I don't know. But America, we're getting down. Check your local voting office to find out when your early voting starts. Like I said, I was here in Wake County Thursday. They already got the signs. I'll probably go to Friday to get that done. So make sure now they'll tell you, make sure your vote count. And we're going to tell you, make sure your vote count. Vote, make sure that whoever you vote for, whoever that is, make sure that is who you really want to vote for, and make sure that vote. And you're not just voting because of the party. You're not voting because you're Republican. You're not voting because you're Democrat. You're voting because you think that this person is the better choice. Look at it that way. Don't look at it as a party. Look at it that this person that I'm voting for, getting my vote, I think they're the better candidate. And maybe with somebody. Any last words, Mr.?
No, I don't have any.
All right, America. Oh, and please, America, keep our brothers and sisters in your prayers. North Carolina, affected by Milton. They keep showing these pictures. It's like Katrina, Hugo, and all them other Andrews, all them crazy hurricanes we've had over the years, all wrapped up in with some of the devastation that it has done, especially up in the mountains. I don't think they had, I don't think a lot of people realize that there was a lot of rain that had came up in the mountains prior to that hurricane even coming through. So they was already saturated with water. And then Helena came up there and dropped all that water. We're talking about whole roads, bridges, like stranded on one side of the mountain because they can't get across because there's no way to get across, and a lot of cleanup. So please keep our brothers in prayer and help in any way that you can. I help through Red Cross. I've donated to the Red Cross to their disaster fund. Please help any way you can, whether it be donation, support, volunteer, whatever you may be able to, just do it. Whatever you're able to do in your realm. Anyway, America, we are done. This is Freedom Podcast, Real Talk for Real People. Again, B. Parker, along with my man, Quentin Williams. Sir, we enjoyed you, sir.
Thank you. Enjoyed you as well.
All right, man. All right, America, we are out of here. And so until the next episode, as always,